Welcome once again to Chino Y Chicano.
I'm Matt Chan, the Chino.
I'm Enrique Cerna, the Chicano. Well, we're going to weigh in on what I guess everybody's weighing in, and that was the slap heard and seen around the world at the
Oh my God.
Oscars. Will Smith getting pissed off, walking up on the stage because he didn't like a joke that Chris Rock had said during the presentation that was aimed at his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and referencing her hair. She has a condition called alopecia. Actually, I don't know if you know this, Matt, but I've had issues with alopecia areata. I think there's lots of people out there. But Will Smith got ticked. And I don't know about you, but when I was watching this thing, I thought, okay, well, this isn't real, because I thought he walked up and I thought he kind of did that chest thing where you hit your chest and then you're making like a punch to somebody, because it sounded like that to me. And then you saw this lag in things, and then the cutting back and forth and the audio drops because there's cursing going on. And I'm sure that it would have been interesting to be in the control room at that time at the Oscars, hearing like, what the hell's going on? And I'm sure there were a few F-bombs in there. And then you realize that this thing was real. And then you realize that it's the Oscars, millions of people are watching. And then you're thinking, what the hell is going on? What did you think?
Well, we could discuss the incident, right? But I want to back up a little bit further and just talk about these award shows in general. I mean, there was a time when they were dignified affairs because it was impressive. It was showbiz royalty coming out to celebrate their work. And then we started in with the Golden Globes, which the crasser the better. It was basically a roast. And that set the tone for sort of the modern shows now, that like somehow it's okay to roast someone in these settings. And the more outrageous, the better. I mean, it's like, what are we watching? A gladiator show? Because in essence, what we're looking at are a bunch of millionaires kind of, congratulating each other on their success and wealth, only to have the masses adore them for it. And these people don't live in the same world we do. I mean, to quote, Alexandria Ocasio, she said, they don't breathe the same air we do. And it's true. You've been around showbiz long enough, so have I, that you see these stars and let's face it, they get their ass kissed to the extent that they lose any sight of what's going on in real world.
You've dealt with them through the years in your work in your production company. I dealt with them as someone who hosted shows and even as a news person, dealing with people who are in political life that are in that same category, I suppose. But also, I've interviewed plenty of Hollywood types, and some have been just gracious and nice. Others have been just real jerks. But
the universal thing about them all, though, they rarely hear the word no.
That's true. And it's got to be their way. And also it can be maddening, because particularly if you're a reporter and you're trying to cover a story and trying to get something done, or even if you're doing a show and you're just trying to schedule them. And actually, what I've found lots of times, it's the people around them that are the worst. But anyway, it does set them aside, set them apart from the regular Joes, people that just are there.
So I remember someone posed it like, why do they act this way? Because they don't know how to act, right? I mean, they don't, because they don't have to. But that doesn't excuse the violence. It doesn't excuse any of it. I mean, everyone was wrong in this thing. And it really reflects the larger kind of narrative, because white conservatives now will seize upon it. See, Will Smith is just a typical violent, angry black guy, right? Black women, marginalized. I mean, I think the only other group that's more marginalized than black women are Asian men. in society, helpless, weak, whatever, and undesirable. And so I see all that in play, but black women deserve some cover. I mean, look at what they were doing to, who hopefully will be our next Supreme Court justice,
Right. Yeah.
Justice Jackson.
Right.
What she's had to put up with. No respect. They didn't put white guys through that.
Yeah. And I talk about roasting. There was a roast there. I mean, and outrageously so. Going back to this whole roasting thing, I mean, imagine what would have happened if it had been Ricky Gervais. I mean, remember how brutal he has been? And if I have to tell you, my first thought would have been, these are two African-American men, but what if it had been Will Smith hitting a white guy? What would have hit the fan there?
You know what would happen. You know what would have happened.
Right.
It would have been a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing, let's face it, it was wrong all the way around. Although I have to say that Chris Rock, I mean, how he kept his composure to try to get through the thing was, I don't know. This whole thing, once it actually hit me, I didn't know what to think, because I thought that I was watching it. I've been watching it from the beginning, was sitting there with Diane, my friend, watching the podcast, watching the telecast. And we were watching, of course, watching the dresses and what people are wearing. And for the most part, I felt that the ceremony was moving along smoothly. I thought that the hosts were fairly funny. And then to have this incident happen, and it changed everything. Totally changed everything. The mood.
And it totally shortchanged Questlove's work.
Yes.
On The Summer of Soul.
There you
go. That documentary was incredible.
Incredible.
It was incredible. But yet you don't hear about it.
No, it totally overshadowed what should have been something that was a very special moment. Yeah.
Yes. A special moment for Black Americans and celebration of their music and their contribution. But no, because the media is going to concentrate on two black guys whooping on each other, or one guy on stage in front of the world.
And I think it comes back to what has become of our society. Because is just acting out and violently, is that where we're at now in everything in our lives? I mean, we have serious issues about gun violence in this city and across the country, and way too many of the victims are young men of color. We had a president that seemed to, just give license to people being able to say whatever they want in tearing someone down in any way possible. We have a war in Ukraine going on, and just it just seems to me that we're so out of whack with everything that hopefully, I suppose, if there's a positive thing out of this, that it would really make us take a hard look at how we are acting as human beings, because we're not acting very well. Let's face it. And
no.
Yeah. And that's a sad commentary that's the case, So I find it very disturbing. It only adds to the drama and trauma of what this world has been dealing with in the past few years here, along with COVID and the pandemic and just the racial reckoning and everything else, that as human beings, we are not doing well. We're failing each other. And for us to, I think that the message it sends, to young men is, okay, so this is how you have to handle things. And that's wrong.
Yeah,
that's wrong. I was never a fighter, so I mean, I'd have been, if it had been me, I probably would have run, because
I'd probably fall down and start crying.
Yeah, he hit me. It's just like, I don't even know how to take it. It's just all the way around. It was wrong. I don't know. Did you read the article or the column that was written by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And I thought he did what he said and pointed out that it was very good because really, he gave blame to obviously to Will Smith, but just the whole situation and what it said and how it was everything. It was just it's toxic. It's toxic. And that's what we are facing right now in our world. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty tired of it.
I'm just tired of just the lack of civility.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. Well, I mean, we could blame Trump because he let the genie out of the bottle.
Right.
But it's the pendulum swinging, right? We had a black president who wouldn't dare to raise his voice for
Right.
fear of being the angry black guy. So everything was done in moderation and under duress. And then we had just the opposite of that. A white guy, belligerent. He'll just say anything. He lies to people and is never held accountable, which is white privilege at its most extreme.
Right. But for Black Americans, I think what Kareem pointed out in his article, and I'm going to read a little bit here, the Black community takes a direct hit from Smith. One of the main talking points from those supporting the systemic racism in America is characterizing Blacks as more prone to violence and less able to control their emotions. Smith just gave comfort to the enemy by providing them with the perfect optics they were dreaming of. Fox News host Jeanine Pirro wasted no time going full metal jacket racist by declaring the Oscars are not the hood. What would she have said if Brad Pitt slapped Ricky Gervais? Well, that would have been interesting to watch, actually. This isn't Rodeo Drive. Many will be reinvigorated to continue their campaign to marginalize African Americans and others through voter suppression campaign. I don't know if I pronounced Judge Janine's first and last name right.
That's okay. She mispronounced your name.
Yeah, I'm sure she couldn't.
Pro forma.
There you go. And I don't watch her anyway because I think she's a bit of an idiot. But I think actually what Kareem said in that paragraph there sums up so much, and for people of color. And not just African Americans, unfortunately.
Well, it just allows bigots to validate their worldview.
Right.
Plain and simple. But that tells you the pressure that people of color are under, that we have to code switch to the degree that everything has to be done so we're not called out by white people.
Right.
And that's a real problem, but that is a real thing.
Yeah. And it just takes away so much from, again, which, I think the one thing that the Oscars did do, and it has done more so in recent years, is that there have been those firsts that it should have been happening so long time ago. The first openly gay woman to win Best Supporting Actress. Again, Questlove and what he won for. A beautiful movie in Coda about a deaf family. And boy, I encourage people to watch that because it's a great movie. And but things that should have mattered most, and it was moving along fairly nice that night until this one stupid incident. I don't know what's going to happen to Will Smith in his career. I think it's going to be damaged for the rest of his life. I don't know how you move on from that. But I think all of us really need to take a hard look at ourselves about how we react to things that tick us off in the world, and whether it really is worth just making an ass of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's time for everyone to code switch in the sense of, is what I'm doing harmful to others?
Right.
And what I'm saying, is it hurtful? Because everyone can do, regardless of race, can be better off with a good dose of kindness.
That's what we need. A little bit of peace and love, So, okay. Well, that's our rant. We just had to get it out of our system. All right.
It's all over. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, folks, for listening to us. And let's hope there's nothing to rant about like this for a long time to come. But I don't know. We'll see. All right.